Welcome to the SHEDDS podcast, where we shine the light on all social issues. We're back again for another episode. My name is Nyani Socheku, and I call this guy Mhlekazi because he calls me Mhlekazi, but his name is Nkosana Lekocholo. In case your parents are watching and your wife is watching, say, why do you go about Mhlekazi now?
Change your name now.
Yeah, you've changed the name. Now that you appear on the podcast, you don't want to be known. No, how are you, Mhlekazi?
No, I'm right, Mhlekazi, man. It's good to be here, man.
Yes.
This is the third or if not fourth episode.
Fourth, yes.
And we're here. We're going strong, and we thank all our viewers. People
Definitely, Mhlekazi. Yeah, people are viewing, subscribing, and you know. It's good, Mhlekazi.
It shows that we're hitting the right note.
Yes, no, definitely.
And we really appreciate it.
Yes, and we thank those who keep entrusting us with this and who keep saying, you know what.
Definitely.
And the feedback, Mhlekazi, we're receiving a lot of feedback. Some obviously sent directly to ourselves on our cell phones. A lot of them said, guys, this and this is brilliant. Consider this, consider that, which is amazing on its own. Family right, Mhlekazi?
Family right.
Yeah, your wife is fine, Mhlekazi.
No,
you still have one wife?
One wife, Mhlekazi.
Yeah, okay.
No intentions to get there.
No intentions, Mhlekazi. Yeah, you are not yet fit to get there. Okay. No, that's good. Today, Mhlekazi, we're talking about substance abuse. An aspect of our lives which is killing the nation rapidly. Because when it happens, Mhlekazi, it's all fun and games. We're all excited, we're all testing different things, whether it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, whether it's nyaupe, it's wunga, it's all sorts of things, or it's tik, Mhlekazi. But at the end of the day, it's destroying lives, it's killing the hopes of this nation and many other countries, Mhlekazi. So that's what I'm talking about.
It's killing our future presidents, future leaders. It's destroying them. Yeah.
Exactly. So all role players who are involved in peddling drugs, even those who sell alcohol, Mhlekazi, should at this stage at least
to
ponder.
If
this is not, Mhlekazi, if I had a liquor business, every time I'm told somebody has died because they drank excessively, they drank while driving. If I were to hear that a family does not have food because the head of the family has consumed all the money on alcohol and drugs, I would ponder, Mhlekazi, if I should continue. You see? So it's something that needs all role players, including those who are benefiting. But Mhlekazi Sotwanga, to help us unpack this substance abuse issue, Mhlekazi, to make sure that, sometimes when in now about a time, and wife never smamela. So it's good to get people who are well traveled, people who have got better understanding, people who are well informed. So we've got Dyasi, Mbulelo, where I come from, but for the sake of the podcast, Dyasi, who's going to help us unpack this thing. I'll tell you just now who Dyasi is, and he'll also help us. He's got a very long bio. Yes, it's like he could be head of the state. He's a very well-traveled Molodat.
Head of the state, Exactly. Good, gentlemen. Thanks a lot for having me here. I really appreciate this opportunity. I think it's high time that yes, Nananiti, you are knitting in the podcast already. You are hitting the ground. I think we must hit the nerve.
Wow. Oh, yes, not the ground.
Yeah, we must hit the nerve. It's high time that Izindo Seku's sugar quota. We need a new revolution. Moving forward as a nation. This nation is wounded like nobody's business. In fact, in 1994, we're supposed to go straight to psychiatrists, all of us, including politicians, refresh our minds, go through debriefing, all of us as a nation, because of our past experiences. But we did not do that. We went straight to administration. We started electing each other and pretended that all is well in our society. All to found out not all is well. We found ourselves in this situation now with Abanda not coping with the very same system Abailwele very hard before 1994. People are not coping. People don't understand the system. People are so confused. They don't even know why they have to elect people moving forward. So abanye because of stress, but it impulse by getting something, and anything, anything, anything ozawuthi mayifaka emlonyeni ufile good or bad drug, unfortunately.
So you're saying, I just want to go back to what you were saying, talking about the country and us not being ready, and it sort of gave me some thinking. Would you say, generally, for anything that we are doing, we are probably not ready? We're not ready to be parents, we're not ready to manage, we're not ready. Are you saying maybe in order to avoid finding yourself at the end, and we'll go deeper into this later, involved in issues of substance abuse and things like that, are you saying maybe there's readiness? Maybe it's a question that if you are a parent, are you ready to be a parent?
Yeah.
Are you ready to deal with the stress that comes with a parent? If you're a husband, are you ready? If you're a wife, are you ready? If what... It looks like readiness.
If you look at our leaders, they were attending Codessa 1, Codessa 2, and those people were preparing themselves. Who was preparing us? We kept on banning things. Eitradin, Babula Lukrisani, Sawes, you know, and you kept on terrorizing each other, killing each other before 1994. And who was preparing us? No one.
Nobody.
And today, Kunengane, without parents, who died during that period, who was preparing those kids. And then later, Chigi, very fast, HIV. And there are kids who were born with HIV. Who was preparing those families? We lost so many lives. Around 2,000 people died due to HIV-related diseases. And so many families lost their loved ones. Who was preparing those people? So there are a lot of things as a reason today this country is fucked up. It's not only politics, even social. There are a lot of things. Remember before 1994, if we would not stand at 5, we would hold a job as a soldier. But today, we stand at 5 is nothing.
That's nothing,
yeah. Metric no diploma, degrees and all of that.
Without skills and education. And we don't ask questions. If you go to under the bridge and start to talk to those guys, they are not mentally disturbed, those people. That is disappointed.
Wow.
So the system has disappointed them and led them to where we are. But we'll get to that just now. And systems are many times. There's a system of parenting at home which disappoints children, and they sort of feel disjointed and not involved and not part of the family. And then they want to go their route. And maybe that, out of wanting to survive, leads to something. But I just want to read something about Dyasi, because I want him to tell us more about himself. Professor Dyasi. Yes, it says here, and I'm just extracting one paragraph from a lot of what I saw about him, and the rest you'll tell us. Otherwise, I'll sit here and read and become a reader himself. It says here, Professor Mbulelo Dyasi is currently, meaning between 2017 and now, the National General Secretary of the Men's Sector at South African National AIDS Council, SANAC, chaired by Deputy President of RSA. Professor Dyasi is an accredited facilitator, assessor, and moderator. He is involved in forums influencing policy debates, provoking discussions without fear on taboo issues such as HIV and AIDS, general health, gender equality, and hate crimes, sexual violence, and explaining these issues in a way that an ordinary person can understand. He was once honored by USDA School of Graduates and US Department of States in Washington, D.C. So sometimes we talk about a well-traveled man. You'll tell us about America, how did it happen that I am America, and what was his role? Where did he come off telling Americans? American is this giant of a country. You don't expect a South African from here will go and say something there and say, do things this way and all of that. So can you confirm this data? Is this what you are and
yes,
what else are you involved in?
That's who I am. At a very early age, I trained now Sanka. I think I was doing standard 7.
Grade 9,
yes, grade 9.
Yes.
How much doesn't one understand?
They work.
So I was trained by Sanka around drugs and substance abuse. So after my matric,
You may also trained
trained by someone.
understanding the drug or
To understand drugs.
not the consumption?
To understand drugs from scratch, why people are using drugs,
Its effects and all that.
indoni drug.
Yeah.
Such train at the very early age. So after matric, I've decided, because I knew my mother, so I've decided to continue with that program, Teenagers Against Drugs, outside school, and then get exposure. You go to travel, because my first trip, I say UK, and I spent some time in UK, understanding community development. But I was also pushing this agenda of creating awareness around drugs. That's when I realized, with no man, eat drugs, especially in my country, because there are countries that's very poor in this world, like Ethiopia, Somalia, you name them.
Yeah.
Those people are not victims of drugs. So in poverty, I see excuse. And then man zamu connect my dots. No man, eat drugs in South Africa, own goal. This country.
So we're scoring our own goal.
Yeah,
It's self-inflicted.
Wow. Yeah, we are scoring our own. This country, nama resources, we have everything here. We have institutions here. This country, nama institutions, as compared to any country in the Southern Hemisphere. So we can't say eat drugs. The reason why we are fucked up as this country is because we don't have life. We do have life here. I mean, I was in Mafikeng the other day. Crossing the street, and Lindwana, you can see what Lindwana is Biza Nyaupe.
Nyaupe boys.
Yes.
Yeah.
But minamos in your process. That's good. That's what is good about being an academic. We process things. Mangi process I learned with no man. While Lindwana fana na layers Eastern Cape, behavior. Same thing in Cape Town, same thing in Bloemfontein, same thing in Pulukwane. Can the project kabane?
So it's like a system.
South Africans are not stupid. We're not stupid people. You can't fight a system apartheid. Something. I mean, yeah, address or even United Nations. But as black people, we managed to fight that thing. It be supported even by Germans during Hitler. And then all of a sudden,
Substance abuse.
Substance
drugs,
abuse.
yeah.
It's not possible. And I was like, why these boys is fun? And whose project is this? So izinto, unfortunately, is born in a lendlela. I conclude with no. Because, I mean, check a manje, these boys, when you talk to them, some of them, they went to school. Aksi nobody. I'm talking about human beings here. Ngabantu, banama brains. I mean, when me affect that, every day, why? Because it's people who can think, it's people who can reason. But whose project is this?
Prof, before we get ahead of ourselves, and I can see you're so passionate about the issue of substance abuse. And I want us to take a step back to say, what made you, I mean, from a young age, you're already
being trained to understand drugs.
Trained to understand about drugs. What attracted you to say, there's a problem in my community? Is it something that is personal that happened? Maybe someone in your family, someone that you know, a friend of yours was in drugs. What drives you? Because I see passion.
Because yenye indefinitely fix like South Africa ukuthi ukuze ube involved in something, you must be a victim or perpetrator first. There's no such. I was not a drug addict.
Okay.
We knew that if we don't get capacitated, we don't get information, we are likely
to fall into the same.
To fall into that trap, yama drugs. Because I mean, you know, South Africans, nasemikiti, nakuna mkiti without alcohol. Akuna function exercise.
In fact, zonke functions zethu thina abantu ukuze function, no by graduation party, no by birthday party.
So that time we're saying, if we don't train young people to understand these things at this level, by the time it's exposed, you'll drink responsibly because you know better. Unlike uqale ngoba victim of drugs and then we get trained later, you know. So thina push a little agenda of ensuring that kuna a new revolution of capacitating citizens, training young people. As a result, I'm not saying abanye babefunda nami
Yeah.
baba ne bad luck kuleya group where we were trained on drugs. None of us are unemployed
Wow. So they started at a young age that you were still
because
young.
we use that information to start influencing each other around. And some of us, we registered at my universities, we started to access scholarships, everything. We paid nothing because we knew we can't win this freedom with citizens as information.
Maybe just then. Just tell us about your.
Though obviously, then,
growing up, you
yeah,
go
then-
past through.
and then
Benzene, benzene.
yeah, the petrol.
Petrol. Yeah, exactly. It starts there. And yeah, but I want us just before we go very far, you keep making reference to academics and all of that, and Gosana reiterated the fact that we're talking to a professor and all of that. Maybe just tell us about the academic path so that the SHEDDS podcast understand.
Yeah.
This is also because he says something very important, that those who were trained on understanding substance abuse have not become unemployable at a later stage.
Yeah.
They were able to focus and progressed academically, and as a result, they are able to be self-sustained today and contribute to building and shaping the country, basically. So it looks like academics have played a role, and avoidance of drugs, of being involved, has also helped avoid trouble, basically, and be able to stand on 2 feet with their own family later.
Yeah, Angiti, as I'm saying, that period, Tina, we felt people who were training us were not just keeping us busy, but they were planting something in our minds that possibly we're going to lead this country one day. But for us to get there, let's train them now. I became close to professors. I started to volunteer because that is why I respect volunteerism. I became a volunteer at that level, and I realized, okay, there are opportunities with volunteerism.
Yeah.
As I was volunteering, I noticed this organization is linked to a university of what? UNISA University. This organization is linked to University of Free State, this organization. So we were able to connect the dots and say, okay, how do we benefit here? What now we knew, without young people with knowledge, we're going nowhere. Rather, let's try now, because as I mean, wonke umuntu were excited in that period. Wonke umuntu Nelson Mandela this, Nelson Mandela that, but we knew he won't change our lives. Chama, South Africans, this one won't change our lives. Now we are capable of changing our own lives, but we knew it distraction in black communities, alcohol and drugs. And remember, at that time, we knew those people based outside, they will come back here. We call them foreigners today. They will come back with so many things that us understand and corrupt our society. And look at what is happening today.
Yeah. Now we've got a terrible disease. I think it's the disease of drugs.
Just imagine if that program, that time, scale up all over the country. Sends a shock with each province. Kuna program is in Labantu who are selling drugs in South Africa, they're very broke today. There was no one ever interested in drugs because in South Africa, immature enough. So as I'm saying, I think Silas this thing from the beginning, which our country was not prepared, young people were not prepared psychologically and otherwise. That is why so many people now but selling some drugs as escaping cope. No cope.
Prof, I want to touch on if you could link how do you the drugs and substance abuse in a country, the way it's so bad, so worse, does it have any relationship with our past, where we come from?
Yeah, of course.
From apartheid to
There is a link, because remember, they see society very depressed. Only we neutralize violence. I mean, we're killing each other.
Yeah.
Kids were losing parents and so on. So, it's a link, because now people, kunabantu who are still waiting for someone to compensate them.
Yes.
ngokuthi kwafa so many people abanye abanazi parents. I mean, look at le out le yakwaqalata, the journalist. He's still crying about his father.
His father, yeah.
But
Many years ago.
yes, he's still crying about his. I mean, ungakanani le out.
And if he's crying, unabantwana.
Unabantwana.
And his cry is probably even effect abantwana.
How many abakula situation and nobody cares about them?
Abazo journalist bona.
Yes, and abana access information. And remember, in our communities, asinazi psychologist. If you want to access psychologist, you need medical aid. NHI unfortunately yahlula, but you need a psychologist, and asinazo in black community. So who's taking care of people who are going through? I mean, Usanka, it's here and there. Haphazard offices, they are not everywhere, and in communities, abuna programs zok address drugs and substance abuse, and most people. This one is unfortunate. Most people abayithatha ukuthi alcohol is drug. So we deny as a society because into esiyisebenzisayo ukuthi must feel good at the end of the day. So usayibona njalo, you can't have a solution. Uzobona ukuthi hayi it's not right. I mean, check manje, people are manufacturing alcohol on their own.
Yeah, near backyard.
I mean, here in Johannesburg, besides backyard, in Joburg, we had a report from Tembe, the former chief Yamapois. He was delivering a report with a plant. In fact, I'm a plant, factories manufacture alcohol, including whiskey. And when you look at this whiskey, ifana exactly nali whiskey le oitenga a bottle store. And mawuphuza lento le udakwa the whole week. Ne papalaza yakhona ngeke uye emsebenzini. And people are watching, and no one is saying anything about these things. And it's young people, unfortunately, ababazi victims of these things. So our country, here and there, hence it own goal because izinto lezi esino fixa. Because sinayo energy, sina everything. Sina systems, sina infrastructure to stop this nonsense.
At which point, you're talking about alcohol, which is heavily and highly consumed. In fact, if you don't drink, you are sometimes considered a person with some element of backwardness. The consumption of alcohol, and I'm just making an example of alcohol, is so rife in our country.
Everywhere.
Mina
ngumfundisi budwami. Mina ngumfundisi benke ngahosta iparty lapha endlini. Kwalahleka amasavana.
And ubiza abazalwane.
Ngibiza abantu abadala.
Abantu abadala.
Bavela kwalahleka isavana nje and the savana 8 guests. All ufana uthathwe ngumntwana.
You see?
And umntwana uyayiphuza isavana. So if we don't asiba prepare abantwana bethu bazangena kule trap.
But at which point does it become substance abuse? When, I mean, drinking is something that is out there.
Yeah.
I mean, the funny thing is that every retail store where we buy food, there's a liquor version that exclusively, be it Tops, be it Checkers liquor, be it Pick and Pay liquor, it's all there. So it's as close to where you buy bread as possible, so you don't miss it.
Yeah.
But at which point does it become substance abuse? For a person who's drinking out there, and I'm just limiting this to alcohol for now, because drugs is drugs, that one, it looks like abantu. But with alcohol that is so popular, I mean, alcohol comes in different shapes and forms. When does a drinking person must understand that now this is substance abuse?
For instance, with this issue here, Savannah, I'm not joking. The issue of Savannah, I discovered with my last born. We oyiphuzile Savannah your guest. So she's 18. But lapha kwami umntwana.
Okay.
So I had to sit down.
But the adult was.
Yes, I had to sit down with her. But first thing, I must not demonize this thing.
Yes.
Because the problem is like demonize everything. Everything is satanic. Ngathi mntanami the alcohol imnandi. Masiqale lapho. There's nothing wrong with alcohol, imnandi alcohol. You must enjoy alcohol, but kunale line that you must never cross. Yi-drug lento. Funeka mawuyiphuza kube nama limitations. That is why driver amaphoyisa akumisa a-check ukuthi alcohol ikangakanani emzimbeni wakho. So this thing is like
controlling you, or
it's like a virus. You know, if lento izoba too much kwibody yakho ingadamage even some parts zomzimba, including your liver. But nalapho, when you talk to your kid, don't suyenza lento ukuthi makasabi ngathi manje ukhuluma ngemonster. Isavana kusi monster uyiphuzile imnandi. Uyabo? Now we continue with that attitude ukuthi alcohol is it's like sex. If you talk to your kids about sex, you start demonizing it, but ayithanda worse. Because ngesikhathi beyizwile yena zange abona amademoni. So I had to
just like utywala.
Yes. So I had to take
says because when you tasted it, there's no demons.
It's pure alcohol.
So I had to, because and another thing, demonize this thing, and my daughter saw me one day drinking wine, and now managing zenza perfect. I'm confused umntwana. I'm confused umntwana ukuthi, but you also drinking. What's your problem?
And it becomes a taboo as well, Prof. Once you make it, demonize it, and you can't talk openly.
So, for instance, you saw me the other day drinking wine, and let me tell you why you are drinking wine. I'm shy, of course, because I can't compete no mdwan. I'm shy, I would know after food, I would drink maybe 2 glasses and stuff, because if you pose too much, remember I'm on medication. When the medication is Spanish, this thing ang damage. I do, okay, nale savana mtana. Besides good to take into aksiyako, but kadela, you don't steal here. Aksiyako la savana. Maso sebenza uzothengela ke savana. But okwamanje masikhulume ngokuthi unga exaggerate these things. Because uzobhayiza usesesikolweni usemncane, you must focus. And yaphela lapho. She's very good now. She's okay. She's focusing esikolweni, akuna savana kwami. Because azange demonize, azange cut it to pieces, ngenza ukuthi I feel bad. Because
you're able to sit down.
Because if ngangenzile, what's a fighter back?
That is one example of a household. But the fact that substance abuse is so rife in our society, and it shows that it's got a huge market out there. Why is it doing so well? I mean, all sorts of drugs find customers. You've got children who leave school and give their lives to drugs. You've got parents who don't support their homes because they're involved in drugs and all manners of stuff. Why does it thrive so much? Why does it find such resonance amongst the people, such that today we're talking about substance abuse, its effects and things like that? What do you think is wrong? Beside the past.
Before I pendule, Prof, I think when I'm saying it goes with the absence of yabazali bantwaneni. And then as a result of that, abantwana find comfort in these things because zibenza bebemnandi, and at the same time babe nama friends yabo mawuzenza lezi zinto bengathi usezintweni and stuff like that.
And
it's
feel
because
cool.
of us who are not involved kubantwana bethu. But Prof angaqhubeka phela.
I think Ubongs is correct. This thing yoba nama dysfunctional families, dysfunctional society, dysfunctional state, chaotic government, ngabina order everywhere, it results zalento. Ukuthi manje Ubongs is correct. Abantwana abathola comfort kulezi zinto ukuthi okay laba basabhayiza thina let's enjoy life. And in the process of enjoying life bazibona bekwi danger because akunamuntu obakhuzayo. And besides that abantwana eSouth Africa bazala abantwana. Yabo akunama parental skills. We are expected ukuthi ube umzali but now umntwana. So hence ngithi yonke lento isukela ekuthenini everything ibukeke ngathi ya collapse. And in fact I mean check amakudlala abantwana babelungu irugby. Kugcwala ku Loftus Stadium. Kugcwala belungu bezobukela abani abantwana babo bedlala. Makudlala bethu sifuna ku government. We don't even know ukuthi umntwana wakho udlala sport. You don't care actually. Mawubizwe esikolweni sase Pinville you don't even go. But makuthiwa ubizwe eChuru uyajumpa because ubizwa umlungu. So hence ngithi yonke lento own goal. Fault yethu, we don't have to blame Western countries, white monopoly nonsense. sizenzile ngalezi zinto lezi but akukho late.
We must take ownership.
It therefore means that something needs to be done.
Yeah, something definitely.
And because we will be a dysfunctional society if nothing is not done, and nobody will be spared. But who must do something?
Yeah.
I mean, if we say we have people do drugs and substance abuse at large because of dysfunctional families, where there are no families. And you know, a dysfunctional family, by the way, is not only a family with abusive, you know, a family with educated parents who are working parents who are busy and have no time to look and monitor their children. That is a dysfunctional family. Because there's nobody who speak to this child. So what must be done because of such cases? Who must do what?
Yeah, I think, Mina, Lendo, I need to have told you to are still good revolution. Though I'm Iboni, but I don't know what kind of revolution with ESCOM, you know. But it was a good revolution. But the revolution without literacy, no qeqeshwa kwabantu, not discipline. Qeqeshwa kwabantu, abantu must go back to school. Every child in South Africa must be schooling, whether TVET college, but everybody must be, every child in South Africa must be schooling. I mean, ngenge ekhaya the other day. Mangifike ekhaya ikhona intwana yami but say yolukile manje iphuma kwi-initiation school. But before ngiyayibona iphuza icoke lentwana but idrunk. Kwenzekani lana? I know babukela emakhaya ngakophi lezi zinto but kule coke le ifaka discipline. With little bit of spirit kule coke. So izenzela utywala bayo.
It's their own concoction.
Because la endlini ku busy, everybody is drunk. Yabo? And kana access. Wabona ukuthi okay, mangizenzele manufacture my own. So abantu especially kids lezi zinto abazibonayo bayazi practice. So the best way ukuthi mhlambi ngesikhathi kumobilize abafazi, kumobilize amadoda, kumobilize youth, we must never forget to mobilize parents. Abazi nix labo bantu. Yes, they gave birth to us. But
given authority
for
their
yes,
children.
but lost. Especially now, angibona bana on my skills. They don't even know what is happening in this country. Yabona bona nje bathatha grant umuntu aphile life yakhe. We must start mobilizing those people. Because manje yibo esibashiya nabazukulu. Uthola ukuthi manje ingane yakho ishiya nogogo ekhaya Eastern Cape all of a sudden uku drugs. And ugogo vela athi mntanami uyihlo uyobona ukuthi makathini ngawe. Yabo?
Yeah, let me just throw a curveball. You are saying we should go to school. Let's make sure that every child is at school.
Yeah.
But drugs are consumed in schools.
Yeah.
They go to children there and they learn these things. Actually, in all likelihood, your first introduction to either dacha or to all sorts of things that we're talking about, benzene, petrol, you know, those things, it starts when you're at school.
Yeah. No.
So are schools safe and how do we mitigate that?
Yeah.
Let's say all children have gone to school and they are there.
Yeah.
These people who are peddling drugs see that as a market.
Yeah.
And they go there.
I don't want to exaggerate these things. Akumoshakalanga everywhere.
Yes.
Ukuthi problem as South Africans, we are not a busy nation. That is why kunjini. Abantu babhorekile la. Phuma lapha ukujonga la egoli ukuthi kwenzekani. Abantu bahleli nje they doing nothing, babhorekile, uye emakhaya ku West. Kunabanye sibafida hleli la egoli. But uzibuza ukuthi umfidelani lo muntu lo. Akenzi nix lo muntu aka assist no mama akho ukuthi makawasha impahla. People are not busy. If everybody angase esikolweni kungangcono because at least kunama but ne education yethu ibengathi ya adjust kancane education yethu manufacture up no education yethu ayifani le private schools ayifani public and le public you can't even get a job in Europe unless ufuna ukwasha belungu. So in the education yethu ayina skills but uba ngaba kuno include skills development ukuthi noba lo mntwana umpasile standard 10 akampasanga at least ungakwazi ukufixa here and there abe nama skills. I mean si adopt le education system yaseZimbabwe mhlambe things zinga much better.
What must the system do to curb drug abuse, to curb the business altogether, so that when you think of selling drugs, you know that I'll be dealt. What must be done?
The problem lana ukuthi uSteve Biko nabo bahamba bese early man. But kesesila.
It starts from here.
Because if uSteve Biko bebekhona nabanye ke abazi philosophers bebe nokuyi design a system yokuthi i-revolution is not only about taking power. I-revolution is not only about taking charge. Ukuthi yes, we are in charge manje. It's our turn. We are going to eat. I-revolution is not about that. I-revolution yengqondo is very important. Kuno baba lapha wayi apostoli yami kuthiwa nguSikhwehle eEast London.
Udala Sikhwehle ndiyamazi mshazi. Hayi mandivume kwangoku. Enzela ba
So that
and udala Dyasi bengamazi ba wazana leSikhwehle. Ndimazi kakuhle uthi anobothi ngotata Sikhwehle. Kodwa ke ndimazi ndinazo nefoni zakhe.
So mina ngikhuliswe ngabantu babekhuluma ngevangeli yengqondo. Ne revolution yengqondo ukuthi abantu ba educatwe, abantu banikwe skills, not for cope but for survive, so that whether the government is there or not, citizens be able to survive. The problem here welfare state and chaotic country like this one, a corrupt ukuthi ayikho into ene direction. Hence now this revolution le yokulwa ama drugs and substance abuse mayibe i-revolution eqalwa zi-parents. Umuntu abe ne-responsibility yakwakhe ukuthi la kwami akubusi Ramaphosa kubusa mina. I mean nalapha endlini yami ngine-boundaries, though abantwana bami beyazi ukuthi I'm not an anti-alcohol person, but kunama boundaries lapha endlini.
So you're saying as ukhulisa umntwana, part of what you must warn umntwana against, meaning you must volunteer this information because they will have access to it. Talk about the presence of substance abuse and
sometimes
and
even
its dangers.
Even if you can mhlawumbe asikabi nawo ama skills as parents, do something. You must be seen doing something kwakho. For instance lapha endlini yami ngiyazi ukuthi bathanda internet, umbani uthengwa yimi. Makulalo ebusuku. If akulalo ngiyayazi mina sisho kuphi. Angithi akuthiwa
introduce discipline.
Kuthiwa masingashaya abantu angithi soboshwa in the constitutional court, you can't beat your child. Siyavuma. Though tina were not empowered. Would okay, if asibashayi i-replacement ikuphi. It's fine. Mina ngiya ku main switch, boom. No internet in this house.
Prof, you keep on referring to revolution, and I want to touch on that. I mean, you'll know better, Prof, that our democracy that we are enjoying today, it was brought about by
Not all of us were enjoying it.
Yes, and it was not brought by, let's say, for instance, this, that me and you can vote now, and that system of apartheid we somehow managed to beat it. It involved a lot of structures, involved a lot of the churches, civil society, street committees, but drugs now, I'm not sure. Substance abuse, do we have those structures now in place? What happened? Something,
Somebody's not playing their role.
Yeah. So, no, kunento enginoticeile mina. Mhlambi I could be wrong. I'm not an expert of everything. Kunento enginoticeile mina. Especially the race yethu. Asithandi accountability. Asithandi uku-address izinto ezi-affecta thina. I-welfare state is a redesigner that she point fingers all the time. Nakwinto bekusupposed we fix yourself.
To the next person.
I mean, now you can bring a minister here and sikhulume. Ubeki parenting up. The parent is blame lo minister ukuthi is because of your government. That is why ingane is it.
But forgetting at home, they are not disciplining a child. Yeah?
But government akekho lapha endlini yami. It's my house. Now, created a system, and even this issue of rights of children this whole thing is misinterpreted. As a result manje abazali bacabanga ukuthi abantwana banama rights amaningi. So kune tension endlini. Kune tension ukuthi okay ngaya you touch me uzobona. Athi umi kukwami kodwa la. So akunayo isystem yokuthi let's sit down and talk about this thing. Let's account. You can't come here drunk all the time, every day. Rather ubuyele esikolweni yoqedela your courses than this life. Nomntwana asho ukuthi no, the reason why I don't want to go back to school is because of this and this. But feel ukuthi i-society yethu i-society eponta ama fingers. Abanye banama excuses ukuthi I grew up without my father. Ubani ukulo baba wakhe. Because labantu bebefika ebusuku bonke silele. Asibazi. For 31 years awumazi baba wakhe befika ebusuku. So you can't make excuses. So kunama excuses uthola ukuthi manje even when we meet trying to come up with solutions, we spend more than 2 hours entertaining excuses. By the time kuseli 10 minutes siyalwa. Iyaphuma meeting without solving anything. So i-system yethu manje, if we want to fix this thing, let's now empower families. Let's empower families, zithathe over, kube ne self-reliance anyana. No, we must be self-reliant now. This thing yok depend on the state is not gonna work. Sizazi ukuthi yazi if I'm not able to fix this thing, no one is going to do it. The problem manje ukuthi uthi mawufuna ukujump ship, government athathe over. Because local government ufuna ukwenza everything, how are going to be government compete with citizens?
You can't.
So basically, since this is a self-inflicted problem, and you're saying China as a society must play an active role in being responsible and in going about correcting and all of that, where do we start? We are now at a situation where children are drinking and consuming all sorts of drugs. Nyaupes out there, wherever you drive, under the bridge, they are there, and all of that. Now, meaning we are in this problem now. Where must we begin? It's already there. Ndingumzali ndinomntwana otya drugs. Ndingumntwana nditya drugs ngokwam. Where do we begin?
Okay. Fortunately, azange ngitrainwe mina to stop people from drinking alcohol. Si promoter irresponsible drinking.
Yes.
Yabona la eGoli ngama weekend kumnandi ndoda la. Ziyabuya la.
Yeah.
Abantwana bethu are enjoying life like nobody's business.
Not tomorrow.
La eGoli ziyabuya. Qhathanisa le lifestyle ayiphila ngeweekend eGoli nale attention yasekhaya.
Yeah, exactly.
Qhathanisa le look enjoy life nale attention ayishiya ekhaya. Uthi ma choose iphi.
So you're saying kumande estratweni kunasekhaya?
Yes. Effect. Because ekhaya kuliwa non-stop.
Yes.
Ngama arguments non-stop, nalabazali abafavor ingane ezithize, uthanda ingane ethize anyaka ayithandi. Abantwana fed up of those things. Bakhetha ukuza kuphi kula night clubs and enjoy life. So what we need to do is to say, continue with your lifestyle, but be responsible. What we need here is responsible citizens. I mean, ngase Netherlands at some point, I think before COVID. Prior Netherlands umuntu even esemsebenzini udlula ngekwati a restaurant aphuza ibhiya akahamba emsebenzini akahlala lapha nabiza icase athi bring case yebhiya namhlanje siyabuya espan thatha iglass eyi1 yebhiya bethe emnqwazini ahamba emsebenzini,
able to work,
and abe able to function.
So you can drink and work.
Abantu abanye esemsebenzini une bar eofficeini, and this person is not drunk. Benze kanjani?
Mina nginasekhaya utywala bungathengwa mhlekazi xa usenza igrocery uthenga utywala ubeke ba umntana xa efuna usela ibe kathi drink mhlekazi
mina ngibawa ibar lapha kwa but xa betshontsha isavanza but ihamba nelento ukuthi mayibe ne-education, because I mean those countries umuntu akwazi ba ne-bar e-ofisini yakhe and then akekho drunk.
So they were taught to be responsible.
That means lento ila lo muntu trainiwe uyayazi lento from a crash high school, primary school, lento high school, university. ikwisystem yabo. I mean saka senze enye into ayikho offline because I don't know who else oyaziyo. Sangena kwenye night club lapha eNetherlands. Asabuhlaba straight. Hayi zasibuya.
Nasela strong.
Amaphoyisa notice ukuthi only people who are drunk there.
So you're the awkward ones, the only
Babona
weird
ukuthi
ones.
African ngenile manje.
Yes.
Because it's citizens as is parting ngalendlela and we started to sing. That is why abaqaphela ukuthi
Yes, banqilile abako. Yeah.
saqala ukucula ba notice ukuthi no iAfrica.
Yes.
And then baqala ukwenza ama special arrangements. Let's bring them, let's bring them back to their hotel, washa kwacima, do diplomacy stuff. But citizens laba la wonke umuntu umangela ukuthi why bedakwe ho kunathi basanda ukufika labantu 10 minutes or 50 minutes befikile but sebe drunk ukudlula everybody. So uyabona into ukuthi iupbringing yethu ayizange ifakwe education. Siyazikhulela. Even animals azizikhuleli ziyakhuliswa but black communities abantwana bethu nayigoli yabona abantwana behlabe enyuke estradini uzibuza ukuthi lo mntwana una less than 4 years bapha abazali and ubona yonke lento ayibonayo azayipractice ekukhuleni kwakhe. So i-revolution yethu, if we are still ku revolution, we need to bring element ye literacy. Abantu bafundiswe, abantu baqeqeshwe. I mean practical stuff without wasting your time.
No, we've got all the time here.
Yeah. Since manje kuphele COVID siyekile ugeza izandla.
Yes.
Simple things. Funa philo kube kuqashwa ne companies ukuthi manje mak remind on ukuthi wash izandla. Mawuphumela
And do social distancing because you know there are people if you're in the strong class, what is check us someone.
So I'm trying to show you. I'm trying to show you.
Bum to bum. Yeah.
So I'm trying to show you into ifundisa omdala. Into ifundisa omdala ukuthi ku ease uphinde uyeke futhi. So I'm saying if lama programs angaqala esikolweni abe iphathi ye system yokufundiswa kwabantu. I mean life orientation must include these things. Yabona must include these things. Unfortunately my Bible studies are no longer there because now I see my religious studies ukumolda umuntu, but these things are no longer there. So if ngafakwa a little bit of the information ekoleni so that even if umuntu uyayenza lento uyazi ukuthi uzoba responsible. Yes,
exactly.
But Prof, how can we stop lento yenyawo bheke? Because I mean now young people are dying because of inyawo, and we can't say we can teach these young people on how to not smoke too much of nyawupe.
Unfortunately inyawupe njengoba siyazi ukuthi even what you call experts are still struggling not define inyawupe as a drug. Gauteng is trying to classify as a drug, but for so many years it was very difficult ukuthi inyawupe classify as a drug because of indlela ehlanganiswa ngayo. Ama-ARVs are there, i-battery, ilaphayana.
So you can put anything goes.
Insangu, kuvulwa ne-TV eback, kukhutshwe something emnyama, ifakwe laphayana. So you can see ukuthi ku destroy our society. Hence being buze that question, nababu kule makhaya ngisayibuza, who's behind this project? So yona leyo bongs ifuna a massive campaign yoku hunter down abantu abayenzayo. Because if victim awukwazi uyiblame ukuthi ifault yakhe because these guys are victims of people abangama syndicate and we don't know them.
We are running an establishment, a business.
Fortunately,
some huge thing.
Fortunately, who is South Africa stop her nonsense. Iqala kuphi? Ulo muntu omqashise kwakho ngamazi negama lakhe ukuthi ubani. You start there. Then dot udala ngokuqashisile la une 6 months and ngiyakubona uhlunywa kunemoto ez expensive la. Ungawaphi wena uphila ngani? Because iyaphela the whole day uhleli la. Ukuzo realize ukuthi actually uhleli nesigebengu kwakho.
So you were in the US and you were there specifically to deal with issues of gender-based violence, issues of HIV and AIDS, issues of drugs and things like that. What do you get there and tell them? and so that maybe as a country we do not think that it's a problem exclusive to us.
Yeah.
What do you get there and say to them?
Yeah.
And what problems do you find?
Mina ngibe fortunate ukuthi ngibe advisor of scientists. And
In the US?
Yes.
Wow.
And in Washington, and serious organization.
No, you must say that loud. Washington.
Yeah.
The Washington.
So
Washington DC. Yeah.
So ngibe ne opportunity yokuthi ngi-invite ama institutions amaningi and participate as an advisor. So ngibe ne opportunity yokubona some of these things. No man, in South Africa lento ikhona. Uyabona, because I remember we went to Washington University, not in Washington DC.
Okay.
Kune Washington eziyi-2.
Yes.
Kune Washington State and Washington DC. So I went to Washington State,
Okay.
a university lapana, engaging kids around issues of drugs. And labantwana instead ba appreciate ukuthi sizobafundisa nge-importance yoku understand i-drugs and substance abuse. Bona angithi si black. Bona babona ukuthi actually thina we need help. Baqala usicollectela imali. Uyabona?
Donations.
Abaziboni bene problem. But nasa I realize ukuthi actually i-issue ye-substance abuse and drugs globally.
So you were called there because there is a problem
There
of
is a
substance
problem,
abuse.
yes.
At Washington.
Yeah, university.
In university,
So,
yes.
so that is why vele esikoleni eclassini umntwana vele athatha i-pistol abulale everybody,
Yes.
because usuke under influence yalama drugs. So we went there to address those things, and but I realized no man, lezi zinto zi-global. And remember, now I realize njengoba sikhuluma ukuthi sikhumbule ukuthi lama criminals are operator globally, and ama drugs aphuma eColombia, and la Africa ngena ngeNigeria, and then ehle as a license, and then eAmerica from Colombia angena ngeMexico. So abantu abashushumbisa ama drugs in this world is people about well coordinated, even okodlula or government. That is why
So it's like a global company.
yes, that is why
Company.
that is why nakuma countries mabengena ba promise ama jobs. Angithi bafana la befundisi benu abaphuma outside ba check ama demon
Fly by night.
ukuthi ama demon
Yes,
amapha ama demon ngathi a popular la awuthi ukuthi oh ama divorce uzoprofessor ngama divorce. So nalabantu bama drugs ba operate kanjalo bafika ecountryn babona ukuthi okay kune desperation imisebenzi la abantu abathola imisebenzi kunalabantwana laba bahle kakhulu bacabanga ukuthi ubuhle is everything utarget wabona ibe yibo aba transporter lama drugs around the world. So yonke lento if uyayibona ke South Africa siyafana thina neAmerica lifestyle yala lento uyibona eSouth Africa yiyo eyenzeka eAmerica.
You know, Umangete, he's very quiet and I'm worried mhlakazi. You know, xa nithetha nge-drugs, umuntu athula athi cwaka ngatheni. Ingathi you've touched the nerve. Yeah, it's hitting home. Yeah, I'm sure he has something to say.
I hope Mangeta akanayo isavana.
Mhlawumbe sepokotweni.
No man ngithule ngimamele umbuzo wami uthi Prof yabona njengoba nikhuluma ngenyawupe iyabhenywa lento ngithi would you say there's a correlation between this phenomenon yenzakalayo ihabli babli in all these flavors and the kids walking around with these things sometimes they call it the dirty pipe they put alcohol instead of water and then smoke this thing do you think that's where it starts to become a slippery slope?
I think abantwana
Brilliant.
bethu bafuna experience everything. Bafuna experience everything ngoba kunamuntu oba guidayo.
They're bringing you things. Yeah.
And remember
Sophistication mhlakazi of drug abuse.
yes ba experience lezi zinto because abazali bana idea. Nathi singabazali sina idea. If ungafika my daughter lapha endlini ephethe le yanto namapipe amaningi ebhenywayo ende ngathi nekhuni la phezulu.
Into engathi yavutha.
Ebhema le
Ngathi
yanto.
uzawufutha.
Kunga difficult ukumkhuza because ana idea ukuthi yini le
They probably think it's a good
in the first place. So and abantwana bethu enye into bakhula very fast. Abantwana bethu ba suffer from obesity asingekhohle ngabazali sebekhula hayi masimiyekeni manje nothanda kanti lo muntu una 14 uyabona. So I think mina that is why we need a revolution yolwazi, a revolution ye information ukuthi problem ye South Africa nathi ukuthi AIDS ibulala abantu, we stop everything nathi si focus kuyo as a country.
So you would say the same effort we recently had COVID-19,
Yes.
and it was all hands on deck, all out. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Are you saying maybe on fighting substance abuse, we should employ the same amount of
Same
like
energy.
Ubongani is talking about happily papli, which we
Yes.
see all over,
Yeah.
and abantu abayisebenzisa mhlawumbe are saying then ayikho harmful, ayo drug lena,
ayina nicotine.
ayina nicotine,
But we don't even
and
question what
things
they
that
put there.
we don't exactly we don't
Yeah.
question. Are you saying maybe as a country, administratively, as government, as parents, as everyone involved, we are not as effective and as vigorous in fighting substance abuse as we are on things like HIV and COVID recently with so much money?
Yes. I-problem yethu yonke into ethi nama-speech. Kuqala i-program ye-substance abuse, kufika i-politician ishaya i-speech ihambe, nonke ninika ama-t-shirts kuthiwe siqedile. Akusile revolution engikhuluma ngayo. Leya into ya-stage manage. Abantu are even told what to say. Nalabantu esibatargetile are not even participating kulezo zinto. That is why kwenye program esike sayenza angithi as a Secretary General ye-men's sector sipartnere ne-SAB, and he said to them, we create problems in a weekend everywhere in South Africa. So how do we stop that thing? Because it creates yinini. Check ama-truck otywala angene emalokishini every Fridays. Awaye kuma-suburbs, awangeni lapha kuma-suburbs, atargeta iSoweto, atargeta emalokishini because kulapho sibuya khona. But njengoba kulapho sibuya khona, ikhona education ehamba nayo yonke lento, so that people as they are drinking kune responsibility anyana. Even ama-tavern owner abastop abantwana ukuthi bangaphuzi. Abantwana abana 14 years 15, they look old. I-tavern udayi mabangene baphuze. Old kufanele ngabantwana lapha. Uyibona kuphi ukuthi abantwana makuthiwa nange ratio e-toilet. I-valley age manje ku-newspapers. Ukuthi actually ibe umntwana lo. But esikhathi bengena wonke umuntu ebecanga ukuthi umuntu omdala. So iningi into efuneka si-address. We need to create a program not driven by government. The problem in South Africa yonke into government. AIDS government, TB government, COVID government, your own problems government. You know, awuvukelwa government. Yonke into siphosa ku government. So uba ngaba sinoqala
No ownership.
akuna umuntu ofuna uthatha responsibility.
So awuvukelwa you blame government.
You should blame.
akuna umuntu ofuna uthatha
So we blame
responsibility
government for everything.
Yabona?
I'm interested. What does SAP say? I mean, SAP is
So
a huge manufacturer.
Yeah, so we started a campaign abayibiza no excuse campaign. Bongs ungathatha lama t-shirt lapha iphela amajita alapha eBheki. Sinama t-shirts abhale no excuse. So we started that campaign ne-SAB, and because we were saying yonke lezi zinto ezikhulumayo after umuntu erejiwe ama excuse. Akuna i-right ukuthi umuntu mase udakiwe ubone ukuthi manje ungaripha umuntu e-toilet wena or ungamlandela
okangabethu umuntu
okanye mayiphuzile umlandele, and then mayiclose ekhaya uyambamba nimfake emotweni nomrape. Ingaba i-upbringing naleyo ukuthi ngikhule ngaphandle kobaba. You follow that person. Yabo? Even ngene toilet you follow that person and then wamrape inside i-toilet. Ihlangana lapho ngakhulu. So i-SAB yayibamba and they are target ama-taverns, that program. So I think we need to revive.
And that was a big campaign class.
Yeah, it was a big thing. Sasebenza even DJ Tira ukuthi bayiphushe because abantu bethu bayakholela kuma faces athize. They want to believe ukuthi if in a face ka Tira, in a face ka Pikinini,
in a face yomfundisi.
yeah, abefundisi bavele bay reject wisely because bayazi ihamba ne discipline. Kanti lama DJ ayafika DJ, and in the process ukuthi kumnandi kuphasa message. Yabona, so I think we need to revive ama programs anjalo, target ama taverns, target ikolo, target abazali, because abantu i-manufacturers zalama excuses is parents. Abazali abamoshayo, because le ama excuses bakhuluma in front of kids ukuthi hayi yazi umntanami angithi baba wakho wamshiya. So umntana uyilalela lana ukuthi okay the reason why nginjena musitimer yabo angayeki until time mayiseyivele le time itime worse uba alcoholic so ubona ukuthi nje if asinaqala lezi zinto ngalama steps engisho but ama politicians athatha back seat I so wish ama politicians fortunately mina ngine access yabo ama politicians ke sibacele back off kwizinto ze community because I mean jonga if u councillor kafunwa I community yakhe for service delivery or for lack of service delivery uzamanyela ngibani nge drugs kwi ward meeting it's
So
not
it's
possible
a community problem that must be fixed by
I
community.
community at what level agenda mayingabe nge water and sanitation and housing or human settlement makufakwe ne
Yes.
nama social ills ukuthi kule meeting ye ward unfortunately animi ngamanzi abuyile electricity Eskom kuthiwa sine 2 years yonke masingahluphi ngayo
Prof, before I forget
Must
this
pull me on my
very,
drugs.
very important issue, and before it escapes me, you spoke about us as especially the black people in South Africa that we are using substance abuse, drugs and alcohol to sort of like hide other things. I'm interested into what are the underlying issues that seems to be behind this excessive drinking and taking drugs.
no sonke sifuna ubakhulu uyabona sifuna ukukhohlwa ngale problems esinazo zongabi na mali ukukhulisa abantwana nokuthi manje ama jobs today afuna ama skills enasinawo check abelungu obathola estradini beze backers uyothola ukuthi iskill lomuntu ngesikhathi seapartheid bengenaso that is why a victim so nathi sikuleyo trap yokuthi siphumile ku apartheid and nalento ukuthi manje welfare state wonke umuntu ufeedwa igovernment but at the end of the day mawufuna ijob kuzothiwa engineering kuzothiwa sifuna receptionist with this qualification
It's back to education.
yeah nase engadini these days ijob yasengadini kuphi CV ema kitchen kusho ama CV these days because abantu abafuna uriska so yonke into ihamba neskill so abantu bethu abaningi abanawo lama skill but that is why it's fine asinawo ama skills but must invest ebantwaneni bethu so that abantwana bethu bangafani nathi uba ngaba nje sinot adopt leyo system or attitude yokuthi okay mina zange benayo le opportunity mangi invest kwingane yami ne community ithatha decision ukuthi okay in this community bonke abantwana bala mabafumane i-scholarships iqali i-community uku-advocate for that sike nomona ngoba enye disease esinayo umona sinomono too much la so nalento engiyikhulumayo is an ideal thing I know because indlala iza nomona but if kunovumelana kule village le or kule community yase Craydog kaBongani i-target yethu 25% of young people in this area must get scholarships and then again after 5 years njalo njalo labantwana uzothi efunde evets athi mina ngifundiswa i-community and first thing mangiqedile I'm going back ngiyovula i-surgery eCraydog.
You do the same thing as well and invest in other children.
Yes, it's not definitely. You know, in essence, I think this is a very broad subject.
It is.
Like very broad. I mean, we'll never finish talking about this. But what I'm getting is that it requires everybody to play a role. There is nobody who cannot play a role in fighting substance abuse. So the actual solution is that let's all rise up and tackle it. Whether you are directly involved or you are indirectly involved, the repercussions will affect us all, because what it does, it kills society. It robs us of potential leadership. It robs us of people who can grow and solve problems. It destroys families. It kills naturally. Basically, it finishes everything. So I think let's call on everyone. Let everybody, and that's what I'm getting from Professor, that there is no bullet solution that will come from anywhere for us to be able to deal with the carnage that is caused by substance abuse, which is deeply rooted wherever we go in our societies, requires all hands on deck. It requires all of us. Abadala, abancinci, clever, abazicima bakho clever, government, businessmen, everybody wherever you go, you can make a difference just by contributing the idea in your street, about Amakelwan, so that we fight it and be able to preserve minds that are going to grow and provide solutions to real problems affecting us, because it takes the intellectual capacity of society away.
Prof, I think if we hit the nail, I mean, you said we need a revolution, and that revolution starts with parents. It must be led from the ground by communities,
not government.
No, not government. We should take ownership.
We need something like the SHEDDS podcast to start a revolution, to talk about this.
Already started.
In fact, that's our hope. Those who've watched and those who are going to watch are going to view this thing and extend the discussions and start talking and find solutions and help one another and all of that. So I think let's make sure that we continue talking, we continue sharing ideas, and please do not forget to view, to like, to subscribe, to share, to click for prompts and all of that. And we appreciate the support we've received so far, and we keep urging people to view and share with everyone, to subscribe most importantly, so that you get notifications whenever we release an episode and things like that. Thanks, Professor.